Hey ballers, welcome If These Balls Could Talk, the podcast once described as really enjoyable to listen to during a long run. That is a real thing that was described to me by Grace Pastor.
Hey Pete.
Yo.
I'm hearing echo.
Shouldn't anymore.
I hear echo too.
Should be
All
gone
right.
now.
Sweet. Is that what Aaron's wife said?
Yes, that's exactly what Aaron's wife said.
Hey man,
Hey,
everybody
that's
loves long form. I only listen to long form.
A
when I listen
podcast
to other
during a long
podcasts.
run. Perfect.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So this is Mark along with John and our producer Pete, and we're getting ready to discuss the latest in sports tech and pop culture. If you like what you hear or see, please like us or subscribe by clicking that little bell.
Ew.
Sorry.
Joining us tonight is our friend Eric Posch. Good evening, Eric, and how are things with you?
Hello, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
So glad you were able to join us.
I love new friends, Mark.
Yeah, Eric and I spent some quality time together last week in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
It was such we had an outset to do one thing, and we ended up doing like it just like an extravaganza of things. Like for example, we went there to primarily see a Cincinnati Reds game.
But you saw one.
Pretty, yeah, we did. Not only did we see that, there was a Nelly concert after the game.
Yeah,
literally, Nelly came out in a golf car. And,
something.
Yeah, and he performed for an hour. Apparently, he has new music coming out.
Did he have a Band-Aid on?
He did not, because he did mention the Band-Aid
really
though.
Nelly.
He did no. He mentioned the Band-Aid though. He said why he did it, and he a lot of times he was like, "If you've been with me since day one." Apparently, he's had a 25-year career, and you had all these like 16-year-olds like screaming. It's like, yeah, it's like okay.
Those liars.
Okay.
Liars.
Yeah.
And then after the Nelly concert was a nice fireworks show. So
Very nice.
The Reds aren't in the. I mean, not every team in the National League is in the hunt, but the Reds aren't in the hunt, right?
it was a very exciting game, though. And I made a bet with Lillian, and Lillian was supposed to be on the show. Sorry, you're not feeling well, Lillian.
Yeah, feel better.
Lillian, for those that don't know, is Eric's girlfriend. Lillian of one of our favorite guests on the show. Eric will soon be one of those as well.
Yes.
But anyway,
we'll see.
your way up,
After
though.
tonight, you might not invite me back.
Oh no,
Very
I'm sure
good.
we'll invite you
So
back.
the
what happened
competition
to our
is
video?
large.
There we go. There we go.
So anyway,
Stop fucking up, Pete.
So Lillian went to the
Hasn't
University
been
of
everywhere.
Cincinnati back in her college days, and she grew up in that area. So she likes the Reds. I made a side bet with her. It's like if the Reds happen to be winning by the seventh inning stretch, or our new favorite player Ellie De La Cruz gets 2 stolen bases, then I will buy a red shirt. Needless to say, the Reds were up 7-0 after the third inning. Eric, was it?
That sounds right. Yeah. Tyler Stevenson was having himself a game.
So I went to the gift shop, I think in the 4th inning, and bought a red shirt.
And while you were gone, LA stole a base.
And he stole the base. And he stole the base while I was gone. All right, John, how you been?
I am excellent. I missed you. Jamie had a birthday while we were gone, and everybody got sick.
Happy birthday, Jamie.
Melanie's still sick. I wrote this question that the Yankees were going to clinch 2 nights ago, but it looks like we're going to clinch tonight, so everyone can catch their breath. We're up 9-0 with the magic number 1, so everything's all good. 6 in the 6, which I'm assuming is another Aaron Judge home run, because that's how it works these days. Let's see, how are movies doing? I started the Snyderverse with Jamie last night, so we'll see how this goes. But I remember Man of Steel being bad, and so far Man of Steel is pretty good.
John, I honestly
Man of Steel is
I
bad.
enjoyed Man of Steel. I liked that one.
Yeah.
It was
pretty
Kate
good.
Bosworth that just made it bad.
It's
She's not a strong enough Lois, I think. Yeah.
She's a terrible
timing,
Lois Lane.
like the really aggressive Zack Snyder decisions are jarring still. But
Yeah.
that's okay, because I know him better now. That's like 10 years later.
Shout out to Margot Kidder. It's hard to top that act for Lois Lane.
Nice, right? Also, I think I'm gonna miss Cavill. That's a beautiful man.
He's
I mean, Henry
he's such a
Cavill really
beautiful man.
carried that
yeah,
Superman
he
franchise.
looks like Superman, like it works. And he looks
just
like
looks like-
Geralt, and everything he touches is good, except everybody screws him over for a stupid reason.
I heard that Henry Cavill has admitted to playing the Space Marine game that's out right now, but he's not going to tell anybody what his handle is. So that's kind of exciting.
That sounds
Very
right.
True.
nice.
Henry Cavill's a nerd too, which
He
is
is.
really
Big
surprising.
fucking nerd,
Yeah, he did
which is
a
incredible.
live stream building his gaming PC from scratch.
You know who else is a nerd? Joe
Soldered it all
Manganiello
together
is a
himself.
nerd.
Nice.
Another beautiful man.
I know he loves playing his D&D, right?
Yeah. So how are you, Mark? Besides your vacation that you kind of went over, how was break?
Yeah, I mean Cincinnati was great, and the other fantastic thing that happened in Cincinnati, forgot to mention this, was it just happened to be their Oktoberfest going on last weekend, which is apparently the largest in all of North America.
Nice.
True. And I can confirm there were a whole lot of people there.
So many people,
Also
many
beer?
people. Lots of beer. I
Lots
did.
of
I mean,
beer.
I had some good beer and some good food, but after a while, I was like, I'm an old man. I don't want to wait in these long ass lines anymore. Like it's like I just want to go home. And so I pretty much just got up. I took my ball and left. Although Eric was nice enough to accompany me with that as well. So thank you, Eric, for letting me be an old man during that.
I mean, I'm only a few years younger than you, but I'm an old man at heart too. So we're in this together.
But yeah, I mean, kickball is alive and well. So I'm now playing 2 nights a week for kickball. One of them is the league that I normally play
All
on
right.
Friday nights.
The only thing we care about is the names. How wonderful and punny are they?
They're not all that punny. So the other league that I'm playing it is in Worcester, which is about 40 minutes north of me.
What's that?
And I mean, the name that we have is called Outer Milan. To be honest, I have no idea what that means.
It's not funny at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And the other
all right. Just to the level that I'm at right now with pun names is my Brees Lightning, my first round pick in fantasy football redraft this year, or Brees Hall. That is my name, Brees Lightning. Right? Good. Funny.
Well, you're absolutely right. Kickball teams generally have some pretty good punny names. Like they have what's some good ones? Like the big team that wins the Ryan League all the time. They're called Pawtucket Fried Kickin'.
Nice.
Like
that's
awesome.
Because it's held in Pawtucket, so they're known as PFK.
I like
I
that.
love it.
Yeah. Shout out to all the kickballers that are listening right now. I know there's a few of them.
How's your tiny human, Pete?
He is getting into everything, but he's now Mr. Wavy. I called him because he waves at everybody.
Aww.
Yeah.
He's a happy kid.
Yeah, a couple times a daycare they were like, he was standing at the gate and just waving at everybody that passed by. So
Liam almost done with his first trip around the sun.
He is. He's 10 months old now and 78th percentile in height now.
I don't feel that old.
He just keeps growing at an alarming rate, like 60-something% weight. So he's above average now. He was tiny when he was born, and now he's gargantuan.
Well, that's what happens.
He's a little monster. Today he was in his car, and he was just like looking at us and going, ah, and running as fast as he could. He doesn't use that as much anymore because he's really trying to learn how to walk. So he's very close.
He's a future
close.
demolition derby star. I swear to God.
Oh, totally.
Nice.
Yeah, he
He
was
loves to
smashing.
just take that thing and just hit shit with it. He harassed my in-laws' poor dog for like 45 minutes while Pete and Steph were in Alaska.
Aww.
Chased him.
I know.
Boo, boo, and he's so fast
Wait,
in it.
did Zach like understand what was going on, or was
No,
he
he's like,
playing along
what
for
is
a
this
while?
little
He was so
monster
scared.
and
He's
why
like,
is it chasing me?
Aw.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Dogs
He's
and tiny
cute, though.
humans, man.
Yes, and work's been crazy, but we're nearing the end of a big project, so hopefully things will settle down a little bit.
Pete, when are you going to the Nerd Oscars, man?
I don't know. I need an invite.
Jesus Christ.
When are the Nerd Oscars? Do they
They're
have
like
the
the
same
week
time?
before or the day before.
Yeah, they do.
It's the same time, but they don't televise it because we don't want to put the nerds on.
It's where they It's where
cares about the
they dole
nerds?
out like all the visual effects awards, like composite, like where they break all those categories down into subcategories the same way they do for the fancy ones with the beautiful looking people.
I think you
But that
still
they
get.
televise, but
I
this is
think
the
you still get
untelevised
a
one.
statue though, right?
I don't know.
Get the statue.
I really need one in your house. because
An
I wanna
Oscar's an
hold it.
Oscar.
Yeah,
Oscar's an Oscar,
that'd be pretty
bro.
cool.
Once you're the VFX director, right? It's like next year, year after.
I don't know. Yeah,
Just say
I'm
yes.
kind of
Nod your head, Pete.
yeah. I'm kind of slammed my head against the top, so I can't unless I usurp the creator of the company. I can't really go much higher right now.
No. Only up.
Yes.
Twirling towards
All right.
freedom.
All
All
right.
right, are we ready? Are we ready for this? So we're all
Yes.
super excited about this. We have a brand new segment that we're going to start with some quick fire questions. That's okay. To get everyone warmed up, appropriately named, warm up your balls.
Whoa. Do you want me to switch to the wheel?
Yes, sir.
You can if you want. Now, you may remember from our season premiere that we had a wheel to decide our fates to what we were going to talk about. And well, now we've gone digital.
Digital.
Is it showing, Pete? Because we won't be able to see it.
Yes.
All right, so Pete will spin the wheel that will randomly select a question for our guest, and one of us could also chime in to answer. Pete,
he also needs to read it.
He also needs to read the question because we won't be able to see it. Pete, are you ready?
All right, let's do it.
I can't wait. I'm so
we got
excited.
sound. Okay, hold on. I need to pump the sound in though too. So everybody, shut up.
I'm so excited.
Did that sound actually go and work? I don't think it did.
I mean, I heard it.
I heard a wheel.
I'm
You guys heard
watching
it?
the live stream right now.
I don't
so
think it recorded.
looks like it worked.
Well, it was okay. Okay. Who has been the most influential person in your life?
Oh,
It's a deep question to start this
Forget
off.
deep. I know. To
deep
start off,
question. Man, that's a great question. I've had some good friends over the years. I've had probably my best friend going back to when I was like 10. She's just been a friend that's like been a sort of a confidant, kind of given me advice, kind of kept my head on straight over the years. Her name is Mary. She's from St. Louis. So
hey Mary.
sorry
Hello,
Lillian,
Shadow.
from your enemy city, but she's been a constant and a steady friend over the years. So if you're listening, Mary, appreciate you, and I'll text you back one of these days.
Oh,
It's a good answer.
All right.
very cool.
Anyone else want to take a crack at that one?
I think influential is such an interesting question, right? Because it's like what does that even mean? And I love you guys. I've had so many friends for so many years. So many. I've had the friends that I have for a long time, and I think all of them are influential in their own ways. And then I met Melanie so early that Melanie has really we have really guided the person each other is, and I think that's kind of common with really long-term relationships and spouses and stuff like that.
Especially when they start at that age where you're still formulating your
Right,
adult
for sure.
personality and.
I mean, you don't
traits
even
and
know.
all that.
Melanie and I, we've been together since 1997. It's 27 years. We've been 4 different people.
Yeah, you guys have definitely evolved
Truly.
over the years. As long as I've known you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's really cool. To be able to know that much about a person, and so I think my answer obviously would be Melanie. And just because there's been so much, and it's gone on for so long, and we constantly are changing and trying to adapt to each other and what each other needs, and unsolicited relationship advice: always be willing to bend, always.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Next.
Very
All right.
nice.
I
Pete,
want
let's
more
do it
wheel
again.
sounds.
Okay.
Wheel of morality. Turn, turn, turn.
Spin. What's your favorite sports team, and how did you become a fan?
Well, I'm with John here. I'm a Yankees fan.
Oh yeah, you are.
I'm
Too many Yankee fans on this episode.
I know we're gonna gang up on Mark tonight, I think. But
Oh, I don't care. The Red Sox are out of it.
my first love was the Devils, but then I grew to love baseball.
The Devils. Wow.
Yeah, hockey was my first real sports love, but I think it was around.
So Eric, I have to just cut in for a second. Did you grow up in the tri-state area?
I did, yes. I grew up on Long Island.
Hell yeah! I knew I liked you.
You could feel the New York through the podcast.
Ah.
Yeah, that accent kind of got beaten out of me, but
were the Devils was those the Martin Brodeur days?
oh, they sure were.
That's the Devils.
Marty Brodeur, Patrick Elias, Scott Stevens.
That's how you become a Devils fan. You grew up in the tri-state area.
True.
Yeah,
true.
They were really good for a long time. Our friend Oak is a Devils fan. Hey, Oak. It's the reason that, honestly, I'm a Ranger fan. Before the Devils were good, the Rangers were good for like 3 years. I remember very, very clearly that playoff stretch and Richter being the hottest goalie in all the NHL for a long, long time. And I was just like, yeah, this is cool. I like this.
Yeah, you still got that Matt Toe chant to kind of fall back on 20 years later.
Yeah. Yeah, but I stayed, so I have New York fan syndrome. I don't really
Oh my
follow
God, he's
that
such a
hard.
stereotypical New York sports
I
fan.
don't really
Eric.
follow them too hard until they're good. Well, I mean, we win so much. It's so hard to be invested when they're bad.
Win so much. It's been a while since any New York team has won. 2009.
Sorry face.
Yeah. The Rangers have been good though. They just have, kind of need to get over the hump. I mean,
speaking of good,
can only get them so far.
Did you know that Josh Hart is related to Elston Howard? I just learned that this week.
I only learned that this week as well.
That means nothing to me.
Elston Howard, the first African American to play professional, to play on the Yankees, professional baseball.
Yeah, that means nothing to me.
Josh Hart face. Totally cool. Pete, do you want to tell your Buffalo Bills story, my friend? Because I know you want to. When did you know?
Yes, when did you know?
Oh, it's so romantic.
Was it when your parents put that first Buffalo onesie on you?
No, because they were a horrible. Well, actually, no, they were still decent in '81, right? Going.
But I mean, you were a fan during those really
good.
long years where they were just good enough to not win.
They were well, if you watch
the second best team in football,
the Four Falls of Buffalo on the ESPN 30 for 30, they were the best team of all time to never win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, that's pretty accurate.
But
when you go to 4 in a row and don't win them, yeah.
4 in a row.
And there's
I can't imagine the heartbreak.
There's 7 Hall of Famers from that team.
Those teams were so
Eric,
good.
Who's your football
Marv
team?
Levy,
Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which makes it
perfect.
And I know that makes me sound very front runnery since it's like, where the hell does that fit in? And really, it's just as simple as a friend I had growing up in Long Island was a Packers fan, so I just sort of adopted it with him.
It's a fun team.
I like that.
To be fair, the Giants weren't that good, and the Jets were awful.
I mean, the Giants were that good. Those the
not
Giants.
when the Devils were up and at it and whatnot.
Yeah,
really.
That is the year that Little Pete. Oh no, we're older than you. That's the year Little Pete cried when wide right, baby.
Yep. Actually,
no, it was a little. That was before, I think, right? I don't know.
That was the 1990 season. But during that Super Bowl, right? It was end of January '91 because there was only 1 week between the championship games and the Super Bowl for some reason that year. Desert Storm had just started, so that was a crazy. Actually, that was quite the experience. I remember because that was one of the first games I was really into. Right? I mean, I had watched Bills before that, going back to '88 when they were good. Or starting to be really good, but that was incredible. Speaking of that game, you had both teams were red, white, and blue. Whitney Houston sang the banger of all bangers of Star Spangled Banners. You had fighter jet flyover
even though
when they
it was
never
pre-recorded.
Did that before. I know. I was crushed to hear that later.
I cried so much when it's wait, that was pre-recorded. I mean, still, it's amazing.
It was still amazing, but
I don't think I knew that. I think you just kind of.
Did I just blow your mind? I think blow your mind.
I think she got nervous, but then she ended up singing. Some place. I think there exists a recording of the track that she actually sang anyway.
Obviously,
she still sang along with it, and apparently that's also fucking amazing. So she could have just done it live. But
was that pre-Bobby?
Pre-Bobby?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think
before it was
pre-Bobby.
Bobby Brown and her spiral.
Yeah.
You also
pre-Bobby spiral. R.I.P.
It's a good question.
You do also still take a pre-recorded Whitney versus a live Fergie.
Yeah. Fergie, I would hope, would be the first to admit she's maybe not the best singer.
More questions, Pete.
Give it her all.
Oh, yeah, all right.
We're running out of time.
Okay. Another question. Spin the wheel.
Pete, I love your sound effects, buddy.
Okay, so now going the opposite way. What sports team do you love to hate?
Well,
Is it the Red Sox?
I mean, that's the easiest answer off the top. But I mean, honestly, at this point in my baseball fandom, I hate the Astros more than the Red Sox right now.
Fucking
Yeah,
cheaters.
I think John. Yeah, exactly. John will agree with you on
Fuck
that one.
those guys.
Like, not only have they had our ass in the playoffs, but then all the cheating and just like there's nothing that I can appreciate about the Astros. Like that, they're just the thorn in our side.
You might. I've said this on the show, but you're new to the show. But like the idea that that team, that like 2019, 2020, 2021 team, that really good team that had Aaron Judge when he was much younger, but also like a whole bunch of other really fun players that won like 110 games and they didn't get past the Astros because they cheated, still grinds my gears.
Yeah, because it was that 2017 team that I thought was just magical. Like I thought,
oh my god,
like,
they were so fun and so good.
They had the Tonight Show with Torres and all those guys, like Todd Frazier.
We'll
like
get
it was
into
just
it
like
later
a
because
great.
clearly we have a Yankees question as they're going to clinch the division tonight. But the
2 outs away
turnaround of the season, Jazz Chisholm just becoming like the center of the clubhouse and making everyone have fun and playing baseball again. And then they just instantly got great. Just like they were good and then they were bad and then they were really bad. And then like the second half with Jazz has just been really fun, really magical.
I prepared Eric that said John is definitely going to talk about Jazz Chisholm.
I have a Jazz Chisholm crush.
Yeah,
I do.
Oh yeah. No, I when I was with Lillian, we were at a restaurant, and there on the TV it had ESPN, and it announced the breaking news that Jazz Chisholm was traded to the Yankees, and I was like, well, one of my favorite non-Yankees just traded to the Yankees. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like
and,
he was like one of the Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say, like, he's like one of the 3 non-Yankees I'd followed on Instagram prior to the trade, and
yeah.
And now he's a Yankee, so I can like him.
He talks about all the sneakers he owns and how like it was shocking to come to the Yankees and have the vets be nice to him because the vets before were really shitty. And
Yeah.
he just really likes the atmosphere. Really early on, he was like at that Little League game where they helped coach the Little League World Series. I mean, the whole thing. I really, really dig him as a player and as like a personality. Like I think he's going to be really good for the Yankees for a long time. I mean, besides the fact that they have to A, have the pitching to get through the playoffs, and B, pay Juan Soto after the playoffs. So we'll see what happens after that.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I think that we have warmed up everyone's balls. What do you think?
I have one quick question, and this could be for Eric as well. This is although it's really steered to John. Who do you love more, Tommy DeVito or Jazz Chisholm?
I mean, honestly, you see, that's a tough question, right? Because
Sophie's choice.
I'm more Italian than I am a baseball fan, and so I gotta pick Tommy Cutlets because, you know.
Jazz Chisholm is clearly going to be on the Yankees for a while, and who knows if Tommy DeVito is going to stay.
Doesn't matter. He's the pride of New Jersey.
We need to give him a chance. DeVito to Neighbors, can you imagine?
I mean, I think it would be fucking great. I mean, everyone's excited. And mind me just for one moment. Everyone's excited that Daniel Jones threw for 150 yards last week.
Or just you?
Oh, no. Everyone who isn't you, because I know that's bullshit.
Where's the golf clap?
Like, who cares?
Soundboard right there.
Two, like,
didn't completely blow up.
Two absolutely, like, incredible circus catches that really shouldn't have been caught.
Oh, Malik Neighbors, man. Yeah.
He's the real deal. But
He's the real deal.
Yep.
Like him diving, catching his foot in the back corner of the end zone, just like, oh my god, that.
Now the one where he just essentially manhandled the ball away from the DB is, I think, more impressive.
Which is something I didn't know that he could do that well.
Yeah,
too. So
no one knew
that he could do that. That's a whole other aspect of his game.
He's strong and he's fast and he's smart, I think, too. I don't know. I'm excited about him. I'm excited about the Giants. I don't think this is the year, though.
Just to cut in real time, the Yankees just clinched the AL East.
All right. Let's give a little celebration for the Yankees.
So we like for most of the baseball season last year, we talked about how the first and second seeds struggle in the playoffs. So hopefully the Yankees will break that curse.
Let's hope
Good
so.
luck with that.
And we get to
Let's
put our
hope
feet
we-
up for a little. We get to put our feet up for a little while.
Still got to get I still think we need to put the pedal to the metal to get that number 1 seed, though. I don't want to play Houston.
No, I agree.
All right, how did we feel about warm up your balls? A brand new segment,
I really
right?
like it. And
Yeah, we love the
Pete's gonna-
wheel. We love the
Pete, in
wheel.
all of his time, is going to make a really nice stage for next week.
Yeah, we gotta refine this a little bit because it, for some reason, whenever I switch to this thing, it like cuts out our video, and I'm not sure why.
Well, so we can talk
I'll
about
work
it
on
offline,
that.
but we'll talk about the look I'm thinking for the stage, or we're thinking for the
Okay.
stage.
Sounds good.
And now we're gonna do another new segment where Pete will reveal his NFL power rankings
I've already revealed
after
them.
week 4.
Whoops.
So, well, we're gonna do them on the show, and
Yes.
John hasn't heard this yet. John, we're calling this segment Pete's Mighty Morphin Power Rankings.
Yes.
It's Morphin time.
Mighty Morphin Power Rankings.
I'm really glad you kept that from me. That is amazing.
We just came up with it.
That's like
It
really
was-
makes me very
We're
happy.
like, we
I
need
to
a name
bring
for this.
So for everybody who doesn't know, go to www.iftheseballs.talkpod.com. We have both Warm Up Your Balls and the Power Rankings now on the website. Pete, in his graphical genius, has made a beautiful chart for you guys to follow along with.
Here's the chart. Actually, here, let's size it down a little bit. I don't know if I can fit.
We haven't shared this with Eric, but
There we go.
All right,
how could we? How
Eric.
could I do this?
on the spot. Number 1, number 32. What's your thoughts?
Ooh, number 1. I mean,
And not
I've
record, not record, right? Power rankings.
Yeah, not necessarily
Power
record.
rankings, right?
Who you think is the best team in the NFL right now?
best team in the NFL. I mean, man, that's a tough one. I hate to say it, but I have been impressed with the Vikings.
I have too.
They're up there.
Sam Darnold Vikings, the real deal.
I mean, the defense has looked like the truth.
The
and
defense. I mean, Brian Flores is a defensive mastermind, right?
So at the end of not this past week where they totally baffled CJ Stroud, but the week before against the 49ers, and Brock Purdy goes up and to Brian Flores and says, "Man, your schemes are ridiculous." And he literally, and they caught him on the mic, and him just being like, he just like recognized that the whole thing was out of control. And I mean, you could see it. Kind of a young team still in Houston who we have ranked very high. They were fooled. They couldn't figure it out.
Oh well,
Yeah.
their offensive line is not that great, but and they certainly got they certainly proved that with that game.
Yeah, I still have Houston above them, but I'm not want to move a team too far with one game. Let's see what happens. You know, this could have been a fluke.
The day,
that the fact the Vikings absolutely trounced Houston, but maybe
is still
not.
very young.
I mean, Sam Darnold though, hats off to him. He's playing the best football of his life.
So Eric, Vikings beat the Chiefs in a 1-on-1 currently in this point in the season.
I have not been too impressed with the Chiefs, honestly, at this point. I mean, I'm never gonna rule out Mahomes.
Lucky, right?
And I mean,
They
like,
really have.
And a little bit
help from the
refy,
Zebras.
just a touch of help from the refs. Yeah, that Lillian's not here to rant.
The
but,
pass interference that was not
I want to
called.
know. I want to know how loud she
Conveniently at the
was
end of the game.
during that Cincinnati game where they totally got it stolen from them. Honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah, she was not thrilled. I'll tell you that. She
Was that the one half of a toe out of bounds?
No, that was the Baltimore game.
That was the
they also
Baltimore
got
game.
lucky to win.
Oh, that was
They beat
one
them by
toe,
luck.
and that
they
was
beat
legit, but it was
Cincinnati
like-
by cheating.
yeah.
Yeah, that was where the Bengals defensive player was making a play for the ball, bumped into the Chief on, I think, 4th and 16.
Your 4th and 16 total Hail
yeah.
Mary pass, end of the game, and they gave it back to them. They're like, "You can go again, Patrick. It's okay. We made a mistake."
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's not necessarily that it wasn't pass interference. I mean, you can make the case that it was. It's just that
it was, but
you
also
rarely see that called, especially in that game context.
Jump ball, like
yeah.
was going for the ball. He was clearly going for the ball and not for the player.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
like they don't call that. They don't make that call in the playoffs, really, unless the Chiefs are playing.
So to
Well, and then if
No,
you're a
go ahead.
Bengals fan, you see that 2-point conversion where there was a more egregious pass interference against the Commanders last week. That wasn't called, and those 2 points ended up being pretty big in that game. So
yeah, that came right down to the end.
some frustration if you're a Cincinnati fan.
So we took the first 3 minutes of that, Pete. Let's talk
Segment,
about your
everyone.
power rankings.
Well, okay, I'll put the list up here. So for all of you following along, the Chiefs are number one.
How about this? Yeah,
Yeah.
go over your top 5
Okay.
and show your work.
All right. Chiefs won until proven otherwise. I know they haven't looked as good as some of these other teams, but they're 3-0 and they won the Super Bowl last year, which, yes, I do. I know it's any given Sunday. This is a new year, but I mean, they have the Taylor Swift power. They have the referee power. They have the Pat Mahomes power, the Andy Reid power. There's too much power.
So much power.
Yep. So
They
These
have
are
the
power
power.
rankings.
when they actually lose a playoff game, then I'll probably not have them number one, which I would love, by the way.
So they're
I'd love to
so they're
see
going to be
that.
number 1 all season?
Well, I mean, okay, not if they're like the 7th seed, but then they're still going to end up fucking just turning it on at the end of the season and win the stupid thing again. This is what
I'm
they do.
convinced that Kelsey is just going to be a fantasy terrorist all season and have 4 catches for 16 yards every game, and then the playoffs he's going to have 128 yards.
I think
Yeah, he's going to have his
honestly,
100 yards and
Travis
2
Kelce-
touchdowns like he does in
And
the
maybe
playoffs
it's a
every
little
time.
early to say this, but I think his foot's out the door. I mean, he's acting now. He sees how famous Jason is getting. The podcast is bigger than it's ever been. He's dating the
Yeah.
most famous woman in the country. I mean, I don't think he really has his mind
I
on
think that's
football.
all circumstantial. I think most
He sort of
teams
sucks.
and in the first 3 weeks, most teams I think were trying to focus on him on their defensive schemes, and that's why Pat Mahomes was going to other people.
Yeah.
And it's certainly been paying off. Now, clearly, they need to focus a little bit more on Ray Rice. While they're not doing that, I
Rashee.
don't know why.
Yeah, Rasheed.
Rashee
That's what I
Rice.
was going to say.
Oh, yeah,
I'd like-
definitely not Ray Rice.
Not Ray Rice. I'd like to see how
I mean-
Rasheed Rice does when
Against Ray
Travis
Rice.
is not double covered. And
Well, it
they-
also sort of
they put-
Freudian.
We'll see
slip,
what
I
happens
think,
with
Yeah.
with
All right.
I know. He got into a little trouble, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
yeah. I mean, was he going 110? and then-
Apparently,
Yeah,
apparently,
street
yeah,
racing, nail the dude or something, and then just
apparently
drove
the
him.
NFL
Fine.
refs were in that case too, because they threw out the
I mean,
the
that's
there
even
was-
a thing
There was
still?
no weed in the
I thought that
car,
was
so
already-
the NFL
Oh,
decided not to
completely
suspend him.
exonerated.
I
He's
thought
been
that was
completely
done.
exonerated.
I thought he
crazy.
street raced
Exonerated.
and property damage, and he left the scene.
He just
Nope,
said he was
he's
filming
been
the next
exonerated.
Fast and the Furious movie. It's all good. Okay. I have the Eagles at 2, mainly because of their potential. I know they've had a up and down, a little bit of roller coaster ride, but they've shown they have the talent to be at the top of this
So
list.
I got
still.
another question about
And
this.
the
That seems
Lions.
high. That
Yep.
seems high.
Are the Eagles 2 with AJ Brown not going to play another week? Sorry, Mark.
I know.
Mark
Maybe
and I are playing
just
each other in fantasy.
how
this
good they
weekend.
looked.
His
Like
best
they
player
looked
is
pretty
not
good last
playing.
week, honestly, too. And they should be 3-0 right now, right? Like Barkley
Yeah.
dropped an easy. He dropped the game-winning pass. It was a chip shot. It was like a 5-little-yard pass that would have been the game. That was first down, game over.
Sorry.
I mean, that
Um,
was an all-time bungling.
Yeah.
That'll probably keep me and the rest of the Giants fans warm for at
Yeah.
least a couple
So
more
I had
weeks.
Lions at 2 last week, which I thought was too high. Now at 3, I feel like they're kind of just right. They're still contending for a Super Bowl, I think. Maybe I'm still a little bit too hot on these teams from
They
just
were
looking at their rosters more
have
so
not
than how they've
the-
been doing.
They have not been the Lions of last year, even though David Montgomery's having a really, really fantastic season again.
Maybe
Amon-Ra-
Jared Goff is just showing who he really is.
Amon-Ra isn't, and what Mark
Mhm.
said, it might be because Jared Goff isn't that great at playing quarterback.
Well, we'll see. I mean, these teams are teetering, but it's just like I think a lot of this is that I'm not ready to just sell the farm and throw all the 3-0 teams at the top of the list
Well,
right
and
away. I want
You
to see
really
how
are
they play
just
out.
being Pete,
being
and I
cautious.
think the three of us can admit Pete is being very cautious with how good the Buffalo Bills are playing.
No,
Bill,
I do
does he
also just
really
wanna-
think? Go ahead, Eric.
Does he really think the Bills are number 4? Because I
He
had
doesn't
them
really
at
think
2.
that.
I think they're
He
number
doesn't
2.
really think that.
honestly, I had them at 6 before I revised this. I need to see them beat Houston and Baltimore. Like I'm going to look like an idiot having them above the Ravens, and then they lose to the Ravens like 27-14.
You know, the Ravens also, I had the Ravens like tops at the start of this season, and they don't look great.
They don't look great.
Yeah,
They look
they're down to 6 because they've lost some key players on defense. They have a weaker offensive line than they've had in the past, although it doesn't seem to matter with Derrick Henry.
Who Mark Andrews is.
Right. Mark Andrews,
but
it doesn't matter.
Where the fuck is Mark Andrews?
They have Likely.
Yeah, but Likely had that one big game.
Too many touches either.
He was big in game 1, but not in 2 or 3. And I mean, my Dynasty League says that Derrick Henry had a really nice week last week, and I'm hoping for another really nice week.
Derrick Henry has been overperforming, I think. Like, this is not the season I thought. I thought he was going to do pretty well. He's had a pretty high impact on this season.
He's 6 yards a carry right now, but the thing is, when you're that old and that big, like, I don't think that's sustainable for the whole season. He might cool off.
Oh, yeah. He's an old man.
Yep. So one of the teams that I keep underestimating is Green Bay, which even without Jordan Love has still looked very strong, and he's coming back soon.
You know, Matt LaFleur... Yeah, Matt LaFleur looks like an offensive genius, right? With Malik Willis is 2-0 as starter for Green Bay.
Yeah. And
it's huge.
Right. Vikings at 7, one more win for them, and they're like in the top 4. It's hard to deny that if they're 4-0. Steelers 9, just because, which I feel, even though they're 3-0 is high, because they're just going to end up 9-8 and lose in the wild card round every season.
I'm real cautious, but they look great. Fields looks great. My early prediction for Russ not really playing this year is pretty strong, honestly.
I'm pretty bearish on the Steelers. I just don't like either of their quarterbacks. Their offense does not inspire me at all.
If they had anything stronger at quarterback and skill positions with that defense, they'd be probably the best team in the league.
Fields looks a lot like he looks a lot better than he did in Chicago, though.
He does.
He's really holding on to the ball.
Yep.
And he's made some pretty nice throws.
Well,
he's made some pretty nice throws too.
You know what's really interesting, and this is another thing that we had been saying in the preseason. Pittsburgh is much better coached, much better coached.
Oh, Mike Tomlin, man.
Yeah.
Right.
That's one of the best coaches of all time.
Tomlin was very happy to get him, I think. So I think we're in good shape.
I don't want to go too much into Steelers because it's going to be a little bit into our first topic.
All right.
But
so you guys can take a look at the list.
How are we doing on time?
We are done.
We're probably done. Okay. So is there anything on this list, if you guys are looking at it, that sticks out as like, what the hell, Pete?
Well, now that you fixed the Commanders, we talked about that already.
And they keep winning. They'll keep moving on up this list.
Meteoric.
Right. They jumped from 29th to 21, so that was an 8-point. I think they're the biggest jump up.
I know it hurts, Eric, but Terry McLaurin called that play that stabbed you guys in the heart. He asked for the ball. Yeah, he did. He said it after the game. He's like, I asked Cliff, I said, give me the ball to win. And he did.
And
what's really interesting is Austin Eckler. I just saw this. Austin Eckler got hurt and didn't actually play in that last play.
Oh.
So they got some rookie, and that rookie
picked up the blitz. Yeah.
He picked up the blitz and he took the linebacker out. He picked him up on his shoulder and he threw him on the ground. He was so pumped up. So
and
go watch it.
I mean, Jaden was still like in the face of a Bengal on that throw. That took some cojones.
Yeah,
I think he's this year's CJ.
I think so. He looks very good.
Very good.
For sure.
2 games in a row now, no punts.
Yeah, that's exciting.
We should be done.
That is very exciting. All right.
His stat line against the Giants wasn't as impressive, but
if you guys want to go put one more quick look at this list, if you guys want to check it out for yourselves, it's iftheseballscould.talkpod.com and just look for the NFL Power Rankings tab. And I'll try to make this a little bit better of a thing. Maybe we can add some records or like how many spots they moved up or down, or I'll at least try to see if I can put the previous weeks in there so you can kind of follow that too. Yep. Yeah, we got a link up there.
That's a lot of organization.
I know.
We're so good at the internet.
All right, guys. So
Mark, ask me questions.
This will be a growing thing.
Good job, Pete. Sorry that we took over some of that segment, but anyway,
No
we would like to thank one of this week's vague sponsors, Mighty Mitts Training Gloves. Protect your hands and up your game with Mighty Mitts Training Gloves. Whether lifting or cycling, get a better grip for every rep. Mighty Mitts, handle your strength.
Dude, Brandon Aubrey is a beast. He just hit a 60-yarder with space.
Damn it.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
like.
Shall we kick off the shindig?
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
All right. Do I have a first topic song? I don't know if I actually kept track of the songs that I knocked off last time.
Oh.
No.
Stop.
First topic, Shaggy? Oh, Mark, no, you're gone again.
No, Mark, the mic.
No.
Do we need to do like cable watch on the website?
Cable watch.
How many weeks before Mark will buy the new USB cable?
The Patreon that we don't have, you guys can contribute to Mark's new USB-C cable.
Yeah, we need a Patreon fund for Mark's USB cable.
How's that? Is that
That's
better?
good. You sound great.
Much better.
All right. So we love football in this podcast, as we just did with the power rankings, whether it's real or fantasy. And this season has brought forth lots of surprises and disappointments. Now, the Chiefs are undefeated, like we mentioned, albeit due to some controversial last-second calls. And also undefeated are Pete's Bills, the Steelers, the Seahawks, and the aforementioned Vikings. Sam Darnold, who once saw ghosts on the Jets, now looks like Joe Montana. Other big headlines include the benching of former #1 draft pick Bryce Young, Tua Tagovailoa's latest knock to his head, and all the big injuries to big-time fantasy football superstars.
Yes.
So, everyone, what are our biggest surprises and disappointments after 3 weeks of the new NFL season?
Did you ask this question last week?
Well, this is a new week.
This is a new week.
Tight ends still don't know how to play. They still all suck.
For a fantasy perspective, that's just
except for Brock Bowers, who is less sucky, I guess.
It's got to be benching of Bryce Young, right? Like that's just
the
such a
benching
shame.
of Bryce Young. I mean,
well,
it's a brand new coach, right? So he has nothing really invested in Bryce Young, and I mean, the whole thing, like we're just trying to win the next game. I mean, clearly Bryce Young is not good enough to win an NFL game with that team, because Andy Dalton looked like back in the day when he was on the Bengals.
I mean,
like it's actively
is a real talent. Chuba Hubbard isn't bad. Like their team doesn't suck, and they sucked with Bryce Young. I really think that you need to be special to be short as a quarterback. You need to be fast.
Yeah,
and
you need to be Drew Brees basically.
And his footwork is bad.
Yeah, his footwork's bad. You're right. And I think that like a guy like Kyler does much better because Kyler is way more maneuverable than Bryce.
I think the thing that shocks me with Bryce is just how like I've never seen a quarterback throw off his tiptoes the way Bryce does.
Yeah, that's
like if you watch his highlights, I can't imagine you really get a lot of force behind those throws either. If you're
you don't. You're if you're on your tiptoes, that just means you're ready to run away. Yeah, but you're not ready to throw.
I think Justin's performance. We were just talking about it. Justin's performance in the Steelers has been really.
The Steelers are 3-0.
The Steelers are very good, and what's interesting too, while their defense is very good and they're very well coached, I mean, their skill players, Najee Harris and George Pickens, like I don't know who's on that team that is carrying it besides Justin Fields.
So, do we think the Steelers would be 3-0 had Russell Wilson been healthy? And then
I don't think Russell Wilson's that good at football anymore.
No, he's done.
I actually do think that they would probably still be undefeated, just the way that they've won games.
I mean, I guess they've only had like what 2 touchdowns all season.
Yeah, and he hasn't really gone downfield at all. There's been a couple of runs that have been in there, but for the most part, Justin Fields has been like a pocket passer.
And NFC East aside, you know what I'm feeling very bearish about? I'm feeling very bearish about the Washington Commanders.
Well,
who look really, really good. And it's weird to say,
2-1
but like,
under Dan Quinn.
They're tied for first in the NFC East, and actually they have more points than the Eagles, so technically they're in first.
By the way, how good of a coach does Dan Quinn look with the Commanders being 2-1 and the Cowboys getting their asses kicked the last 2 games?
And what's so interesting too is like all of this Commanders like really smart moves like Montez Sweat, like Jaden Daniels, lots of like Bobby Wagner's on the fucking Commanders now, right? Is all with the new management. They sold the team and turned the page, right? And first season out, looking pretty strong.
Yeah, finally. It's.
I mean, I'm all about anything that gives an FU to Dan Snyder. So, and having success right off the heels of that's thumbs up from me.
That's the best way to do it. That's like after a breakup, and you're like, the best thing you can do is just be happy with a new person.
You also have the Seahawks and the Vikings being undefeated. I mean, who would have thought the Seahawks would be 3-0?
I mean, Geno was the real deal last year. Geno's the real deal this year.
I have them. I think I had them pretty high in the rankings too, just because they have good skill. Like they've always had really good receivers. I was actually shocked that they were as bad as they were last year. They just had an off year.
That's with Kenneth Walker out.
Yeah,
that's
Kenneth
true
Walker
too. Out.
Yeah. But like they never used Njigba, and even though he was the top receiver picked in 23,
he did very well in week 2, but not in 1 or 3. And very well. He did okay in week 2.
I guess
I think they've got to have the second most stacked wide receiver class outside of Houston.
Yeah, I mean Lockett is
probably.
Lockett is towards the end of his career, I'd say, or at least towards the end of his peak, right?
DK Metcalf is a freak of nature.
DK
he's
is
a beast.
Freakish.
He's a beast.
Yes.
And then the Vikings, like we kind of talked about them. Sam Darnold looks amazing now.
I'm so proud.
He looks
of him.
like he looks like the guy that he was in college.
Yeah.
The black hole that is the New York Jets
for quarterbacks.
And the fact that Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson are free of it.
Does that mean Zach Wilson's really a good quarterback? No,
he's gonna be better than the Jets.
No, he's not a good quarterback. No, he's not.
Well, better than he was in the Jets.
And what's interesting too is you look at it. The Jets are surviving in spite of Aaron Rodgers, I think. They're skill players.
No. Let's to be fair, Aaron Rodgers has done a pretty good job in New York.
That's the most competent quarterback play I've seen in the Jets.
Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall are probably 2 of the best skill players in the NFL, and they're about the same time.
Yeah, like since Favre probably went to go and retire over there, it's been a long time since they had someone like that.
I mean, he also took his pants off, so we're not going to talk about
that's I can't unsee that.
And he's trying to. Go ahead, Eric.
No, I was just saying you were talking about us being in Cincinnati, and we were watching your Patriots suffer against the Jets, and
unfortunately,
that was by far the best Aaron Rodgers has looked as a Jet.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously small sample size, but I feel like it does take a couple weeks to mesh with some of those guys.
Well, if he actually played during the preseason, maybe that he'd mesh a little faster. But
that's right.
You've got caves to be in the dark in, Mark.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe the whole team should be in the dark hole or whatever.
He's going to convince them to do that next season for sure. That's team building exercise right there for
merging
2025.
Of worlds. And we're done.
Alrighty.
I think we have been done, but it was a good
I think so. I was going to bring up the big use of the too high safety concept for defense that Vic Fangio has now brought into the league that is now spread like wildfire, and that's why offenses are so down, and we don't
so smart.
We don't get these deep passes anymore. Look at why the quarterback stats are terrible. That's why every defense is doing that.
And the new safety rules, all the new rules are really affecting the league, I think. And
except for Josh Allen, who just ignores all the rules.
Running backs are back up. Like we talked about the running back gate last year, and it's really not anymore. All of a sudden, because the NFL has changed. And anyway, we need to move on. Stop distracting me.
I got something ready.
Okay.
You spin my head right round for next topic, baby. Right round.
So, this would have been better with Lillian, but we're going to talk to you about it, Eric. Besides a misfire in week 1 to the New England Patriots, the Bengals have given us really some of the best football of the last 2 weeks. And unfortunately, they're still 0-3. In a difficult AFC North, looking up at the 3-0 Steelers, the Bengals in no way look bad, either losing by 1 to the defending 2-time Kansas City Chiefs in week 2, or scoring 4 touchdowns with 0 punts and turnovers, and Burrow throwing a career-high 127.5 passer rating in a loss on Monday against the near-perfect Washington Commanders. So, Eric, and everyone else, what do we think is going on with the previously division favorite Cincinnati Bengals? Is the season salvageable, or is this defense too bad for them to be able to compete?
I think it's salvageable. I mean, obviously 0-3 is a huge hill to kind of have to climb up.
It is a epic none seen before Hill. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
we have a little bit
the
of like
season.
history and stats now against us.
As
think
your
that-
favorite garbage human.
Hey, there
Yeah, I
it
mean,
is.
weren't they 1-3 last season?
Why do they suck so much in the fucking beginning?
I don't know.
I mean, I think some of that is Joe Burrow has had some.
No,
He's
but
been
he was
hurt.
perfect.
He's been hurt.
He
Uh,
was perfect on Monday.
he was
Yeah.
right.
No,
Last
but
week
that's
was not his
not the-
fault.
You cannot
no,
blame Monday
not
on
at
Joe
all.
Burrow. And honestly, you can't blame the Chiefs on Joe Burrow. So what's the problem?
But the last 2 seasons,
Defense.
he's had some early season injuries he's been recovering from.
That's true.
To kind of kind of de-rust from. But the last 2 weeks, the Chiefs, and especially against the Commanders, he's shown that offense is still borderline unstoppable when they're going right.
Ridiculous.
It's the defense. Yeah.
Yeah.
The defense has been sleeping.
The defense
I mean,
was one of the worst performances I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
you don't give up a punt all game. That's on the defense.
Yeah.
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 Like,
And
I don't
to
remember seeing, like, a tipped
really
pass.
young, not proven team. I mean, like, really a lot of failures.
Yeah, especially when, you've got Cam Taylor-Britt coming into the game talking about how they've got a college offense that they're building around.
Oh, I know.
Jane
Yeah.
Williams.
Talking all that shit, you made
Yeah.
him mad too. That's what you fucking
Yeah.
did.
So mad.
Yeah,
so
somebody
mad.
said like that was a pretty good looking college offense.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like, if you're
He's like, it's
Yeah.
simple. We don't give Jaden a lot of things to do. Well,
we
you
also,
know.
I mean, look at their top 2 targets though for the Bengals. I mean, yes, I know offense wasn't a problem this past week, but it's still not perfect in the fact that, right, you have Chase who's,
It's not perfect. They didn't punt
And-
either.
I know, I guess not.
127.5.
I know.
That was not an offensive
There
problem.
was also
That-
a week
not-
1 and a week 2 though, right?
No,
Where they
okay,
could have been
They
better.
didn't have T.
They-
Higgins in those 2 weeks.
They somehow got fucked by the New
Right.
England Patriots, who has
Higgins
proven
is
in the
hurt.
last 2 weeks that
They
they are
don't get
useless.
fucked by the New England Patriots. That that defense is just awful.
yeah.
No, but
Like,
I mean,
they,
like,
they let Stevenson just run right through
they
them.
lost badly to the New England
Stevenson's
Patriots.
not a
who I
bad
still
running
think
back
is
at
a
all, though.
Pretty low ranked
Especially in Pete's power rankings. Hey, yo.
team. And real life. I think that the problem that we're seeing, besides, I mean, the week 2 loss and the week 3 loss are bad beats. They're just bad beats.
They are. They're bad beats. They're bad beats.
Yeah.
They
And-
could be 2-1
Yeah.
at this
They could
point
be
versus
2-1.
0-3.
Yeah,
I
but they're
agree with
not.
Mark, and it's why I didn't sync them too much in the rankings. I think they'll bounce back.
T's coming back. What's really exciting about the Bengals this season is they're really Burrow at least seems to really be enjoying Mike Gesicki, who is a big, hard hitting tight end who I don't think he's had a tight end target before. Really,
Not really.
No. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the guy's name.
Yeah, he's had T. Higgins and Jamar Chase on the
I think
outside, but
from-
never anyone in the middle.
yeah. I
well,
think from
wasn't that
a
what
skill,
Tyler Boyd did? Although he's gone now.
Yep.
Yeah, he was
I
their
think
slot
Gesicki-
guy.
Yeah.
I think Gesicki's better than Tyler Boyd.
Could be
Gesicki
different, right? Boyd,
Gesicki-
right,
different
Boyd is a
matchups,
receiver.
different
Gesicki
matchups.
kind of
is
got
a big tight
he
end.
kind of
but-
got stuck on the New England Patriots last year, and they were worse last year.
Never mind that.
And then Miami before that. Before
And then
Miami got
Miami
really
before
good
that,
at offense.
before
we don't
Miami
like to
got
talk.
really
We don't
good.
want to talk about that.
And so he's been sort of bouncing in the league, but I've been a fan. I mean, he's I drafted.
I was gonna
he's a
say,
guy
isn't
who
he
I've had
still on
some-
your dynasty team, or did you finally let go of him?
He is still in my dynasty
He's still
team,
there.
and Ingram's been hurt for the last 2 weeks, and so he's been a key piece.
There you go.
Yeah, everyone thought that he was going to be a lot better. Like, he was originally on the Dolphins. I mean, he never really did anything on the Dolphins, but then
He had a
when the
couple of good
Dolphins
weeks.
never did anything.
It's still
Mhm.
sort of, but they never had an offense that really leaned that way.
Could say the
And-
same thing about Kyle
Th-
freaking
this
Pitts.
is Yeah, this is the first
so
time he's been on a
frustrating.
formidable offense. Do you still
Yeah.
have Kyle Pitts on your dynasty team?
He does.
That's a hill I will die on.
I mean, I agree
He's-
with you.
He's
Like,
too good for me to just give away.
I was watching.
you're gonna
I was
die.
watching.
I
Yeah, I was
will.
watching a lot of.
I will.
A lot of the experts think that Kyle Pitts is still not being effectively used.
No. I watched that game and it's just like
The Falcons
rare times
are
they throw to
bad.
him are like into traffic and a desperation like third or fourth down pass that sails over his head. Like, what is he supposed to do?
So back, what is it now? 24, back in 22, 21 when he got drafted. Pete came to me. He's like, "Listen, man, I have the plan.
I had a
I'm gonna
master
draft.
plan.
I'm gonna draft a generational tight end."
That's what they said. He went 4th overall in that draft.
I mean, yeah. And I was like, well, where's he going to? He's probably going to go to the Falcons. I'm like, Pete, the Falcons are bad at football.
Yeah, not the fantasy draft, 4th overall in the NFL
bad.
draft, and then
So
I
bad.
traded up to 3rd from 6 to get him.
You know what I think the problem is
And
with
I've been
Kyle
paying
Pitts?
for it since.
He's on the Falcons.
No. I don't think that's
Yes.
the problem at all. I don't think that's the problem because like they have a formidable like quarterback now in Kirk Cousins. I think they're trying to use him like a wide
Formidable?
receiver. I think they're trying to use him like a wide receiver, and they need to use him like a tight end.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because he's doing a lot of deep routes, and it's like no, he should be doing some of the more intermediate ones. Like he's a tight end. Use him as a tight end.
Yeah, the best receiving tight ends are the ones that play like big slot receivers.
Love those
That's
big
true.
slots.
You gotta
Give him
go for the big slots.
Hey.
Oh,
Boom, boom.
Whoa! All right.
I love big slots, and I cannot lie.
Before I
So
derail
I
this
think
topic any
who's
further,
concerned-
I think we should end on I love big slots and I cannot lie. It's 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm good for it.
okay.
When you call my name, it's time for next topic. I'm down on my PC. I want to take you there.
Yeah,
Tell me.
it's all good. I like it.
So Shohei Ohtani is not only a name mentioned on this podcast, but also in the general public. But the general public is astir about the famous Los Angeles Dodger player. In fact, while we were in Cincinnati, we were randomly walking down the street and we heard a bunch of people just talking about him. He completed a feat that no other MLB baseball player completed in the first 50-50 season, which means he has at least 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases. Even more remarkable is the video game-like stats that he got during the game that he got achieving this particular milestone, that including him going 6 for 6 with 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases in a 20-4 routing of the Miami Marlins.
24?
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
So everyone, how significant is Shohei Ohtani's 50-50 season, and how incredible was the game that he did when he got it?
He also pitches. Christ.
He hasn't pitched this season.
But he also pitches.
But
He might be
can.
pitching out of the bullpen in the playoffs.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the funniest thing to me about funny, impressive, whatever the right word is, with him just deciding to pick up stealing bases as sort of like a party trick this season.
I know. Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, like I can't pitch, so I might as well do something else useful.
Yeah, like what else can I
And
do?
so, and like this didn't even really start until the second half. Like I think like
That's true.
39
That's true.
or so of his like.
Okay, so
stolen
you want to know
bases-
what's gross? He had 20 stolen bases last season, and he had 10 the season before. It literally
Because he never tried.
He just decided to.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And now,
And
do
yeah.
you think that with a little bit of the rule changes and him just being a smart baseball player, I mean, he's got to be fast, but maybe he's just really smart.
Oh yeah, he's got great baseball instincts. Like I think that was one of the more impressive things to me when I was evaluating his stolen bases in the last few years. Like his, it's not that he just exploded in terms of the stolen bases. It's his efficiency went way up, because I think he was like 55 of like 85, or in that ballpark, not quite, but over the last like 3 or 4 years in stolen bases, and this year he's like 55 for 59 when I last checked.
Efficient,
Which is
wild.
Super efficient rate.
Remember the new rules do have something to do with that, because you're only allowed to
That's
to
true.
throw back to first base so many times. And
Mm.
so, but I think he's just been smarter, and the fact that he's not pitching, he's like, well, might as well
Do something.
because if he was pitching, he probably would not be stealing as many bases.
Yeah, I agree. He's not going to have these stolen base numbers next year, assuming he goes back to being on the mound. I just think wear and tear on the body, even just like the risk of jamming your arm.
Yeah, the injury. Yeah.
I think he's probably going to go back more to maybe like a 15-20 stolen base guy next year when he's on the mound again. But I mean, just kind of, I think that really what he's going for this year, and I think he just tied it actually today, was to set the Japanese record for stolen bases by Ichiro, which is I believe is 56.
Mm.
Yeah,
And,
it's either 56 or 57. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he might just be like, I want that record.
So, all right, let me run through this line one more time. 6 hits in 6 at bats, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases.
My God.
Those are video game numbers.
Like, I can't even
Yeah.
do that in the show.
I know.
You would get a.
I mean, do we think
You would get
maybe
banned
an
for
easy
cheating in
mode.
the video game.
Maybe
with
an easy
those
mode.
numbers.
Yeah.
do we
Yeah.
think that, like, I mean, they were getting cream. Do we think, like, maybe it's just fun to watch? Like, maybe somebody got a call. Hey, let him go. Let Shohei go nuts.
I think that's giving the Marlins too much credit.
That's true. That's a good point. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it, honestly. And what's so interesting to me is the Dodgers have been good, and they're much, much better. And
Yeah.
we'll really see what happens when sorry, the Giants just
I know. I was watching that same exact
when
thing.
they get through the first round. Let's see if they can get through the first round.
That's the
because they've
thing.
been
I
awesome,
think
and they
what
haven't.
baseball needs is for Shohei and the Dodgers to be in the World Series. Because he is a generational player, and there needs to be more eyes on Shohei in order for baseball to kind of get the popularity that they want to, like the NBA has and the
Yeah.
NFL has. They
I was
need
gonna
more
say,
eyes on them.
Now that people are talking about him too, like that would amplify the ratings for the World Series. So it's almost like an echo chamber there, twofold thing. He'll get more exposure, and the game will get more exposure because
the
of
last 2 years they've had a double small market World Series, and it's from a decision that they made to change the playoffs. And
Absolutely,
I'm all for small markets succeeding, but if you take the big markets out of it entirely, people stop watching.
So, Mark, surely you'd agree then that the best thing for baseball is a Yankees-Dodgers World Series.
Unfortunately, I actually do agree with that.
I would rather the Mets, but yes,
But
I agree too.
I don't think the Yankees are going to make it. I think having a week off is going to really hurt them. I really do.
I don't necessarily think that their offense is going to struggle. I don't think the Yankees are going to make it, but I don't think it's because our pitching is not that good. And the thing about playoff baseball is it's entirely pitching. Entirely the hottest
pitching. You totally need pitching.
The hottest pitcher going into to October wins the World Series. Oh,
that's why the Rangers won last year. They were the hottest team.
That's why the Rangers won.
I feel like the pitching for the Yankees could be. I felt more sure about the Yankees pitching prior to the Nestor Cortez news this week.
Cortez got hurt. Yeah,
I had asked a question, man. Who is going to win 3 games in a 7-game series? Because it's not Carlos Rodon, and it's not Garrett Cole, and now it's not Nestor Cortez. So who's going to win?
I mean, we might have different opinions on Cole, because I think that he's one of maybe 3 surefire aces that are going to be in this playoffs this year, which I think is kind of...
Cole's still hurt.
You're still remembering last year Cole. We don't have last year Cole. We have this year Cole.
I don't know. I mean,
I have been a Yankee fan for 43 years, right? Since I was born. And
since you came out of the womb, you were like,
since I came out of the womb, no other choices. And I really don't think that Garrett Cole is back.
On day one.
I mean, he's okay. So
I don't think he's back either.
He's a half season. He's 8-9, 7-9. He's like, no, the strikeout numbers aren't even close. He's hurt still.
He's been kind of building up. I think, like, I don't think he's hurt still. I think he's just been kind of building up because he had a late start. And I think that sort of goofy Red Sox start kind of, I think, is throwing everyone's perspective off, because I think that
Rafael Devers loves to face Garrett Cole.
Like, I think like Garrett Cole is an absolute head case. Like, he's just like a weirdo, and like I think that the Red Sox, and especially Devers, like, he's just like transfixed by Rafael Devers. Like
I don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head, but they're insane. Like, I think he's batting at least 600 against Cole with like 7 home runs this season. It's insane. And in his career, he's got so many home runs against Garrett Cole.
Yeah. It's so insane. I mean, I think like his if you take out his numbers against the Red Sox and Mets this year, he's got like a 2 pushing 2 sub-2 ERA, and he's like, unless he faces the Mets, like, he's not going to have to worry about that.
How can you just say, oh, those games didn't count?
I mean, unless
his ERA in 2024 is 3.41, which is a full point above his ERA last year.
But I mean, I think that he came out after that Red Sox game, and granted, it was against the A's, to be fair, but he went 9 innings, could have gone out for the 10th, and then tonight in the ALDS clinching game, he dogged out. So I think that he's an ace.
But I mean, they were up by 9. They creamed. I guess I will give you that the big number came later in the game. So maybe.
No,
I mean,
he,
Baltimore
he's
is not
looking
bad.
good.
Baltimore is a very good team. Baltimore has a very good offense. Gunnar Henderson is very good at baseball. Like, I get it. I hope so.
Yeah,
I knew. I knew this. I wasn't gonna like this episode because I started talking about Shohei Ohtani, and we still end up talking about the Yankees.
You know what we're gonna talk about next? Because we're at time.
The Yankees.
The Yankees. We're talking about Yankees topic.
Yeah.
Why is my voice so high? Why do I sound like Mickey Mouse?
I don't know.
We're talking baseball. Yankees as the first topic.
As long as you declare yourself the Steve-O Willie
Baseball.
version too, not a copyright violation.
Hey, all right, we got this. I'm ready.
Okay.
I stole your
Mad.
thunder because
I'm
we
so
totally
mad.
walked into it. And now to make Mark the most happy. Going into tonight, the Yankees had a 4-game lead over the Baltimore Orioles with 4 games left in the regular season. So the last time the Yankees won the division was in 2022, but it has been an educational 15 years since the Yankees were last in the World Series. And it's not like we've been bad since then. For the record, this will be Brian Cashman's 27th year at the helm, and the Yankees have won the division 15 times under his leadership. I still hate him, but we'll get to that. This week, the Yankees start, and now we're at the end of a 3-game series with the falling off Baltimore Orioles. And it doesn't really feel that exciting, even though it did, because the Baltimore sort of fought back a little bit. Clearly, what makes the New York Yankees this year so good? What do they need to do to be successful in the playoffs? And why is Jazz Chisholm so easy to like?
Well, so I do think it's kind of funny because, with our previous discussion on Cole, I haven't necessarily thought the Yankees were that good this year. I mean,
Because they're not.
they're gonna potentially eke into the number 1 spot in the AL, but the entire
true.
AL has been sort of wide open. There's not. I think it's the first time in.
I don't necessarily think we can call up until this week a 6-game lead eking and the best record in baseball eking. I mean, they're very good at baseball.
But what is the best? We talked about this. There's not going to be one single team to win 100 games this
no
season.
100-game winners this year, but I think hitting is better and pitching is worse, and I think this is one of those years that you can see it. Baseball ebbs and flows based on rules and stuff.
Oh, you're
like
saying
that.
League-wide hitting is better, pitching
League-wide.
is worse. Okay.
Yeah, and it is, by the way.
And do you feel like
there's how many 50 home run hitters? There's 5.
It does seem like a lot.
And Soto has 40, and there's a lot of guys over 40. I mean, there's a lot of people hitting very, very well. And that's what happens in baseball, Pete. It's kind of a wrestling match, and you could even, and back in the steroid ages, you could tell in steroid ages, like the hitters would take steroids, and then the pitchers would take steroids, and because they're all trying to beat each other.
Of course.
But the Yankees, since Jazz Chisholm, have been offensively brilliant. And the defense has, or the defense, the pitching has been okay, and I think that really is the struggle for the New York Yankees, to always pitch very well, because they beat the Orioles by 9 last night, but they lost by 8 the night before. So, and we can't do that. You can't give up a game in a 7-game series, and you can't give up a game that big, because it's all momentum. Anyway, go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I do think that we're kind of sleeping on the Yankees pitching a little bit, though. I mean, again, even with the Nestor injury, Rodon, he's not the guy that they're paying the money for, but he's still having quite a good year. I mean, I think he's going to be the kind of guy that can come out in the playoffs. I was
very down on him last year, but he did win 16 this year, 16. So, I mean, that's a lot of wins.
John was calling Rodon like the most expensive janitor for.
I was so upset with him last year. Last year was so hard.
Last year was rough.
It was so hard.
But I think that Rodon's biggest thing is just going to be if he can because I think that he just sometimes gets in his own head. Like if he gives up a run in the first inning, then he sort of tanks. But if he can get through a clean inning in game 1 of a series, then or game 2 of a series, as the case would be, I think that he could probably really step up and be that guy.
You guys do lead the league in head cases. And,
he's a different kind of head case from Cole, though. Cole is just a weirdo. Rodon is just almost seems like insecure.
Yeah, I
Something
hope
to hang
to
your
see.
hat on.
I hope to see. I hope to see a very good first year playoffs from Luis Gill. I think Gill is very exciting. Clark Schmidt had a pretty good year, so maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was coming up with my my thoughts prior to last night when Schmidt gave up 3 and like 5 1/3. But before that game, he granted in a smaller sample size, he had the lowest ERA in the Yankees.
Yep.
You guys are talking a lot about pitching. How is Aaron Judge going to perform in October?
He's gonna be so fucking good.
Historically, he has not.
No, but
Interesting.
historically, he hasn't had double-sided protections. The reason he's
Historically, when it gets cold, he decides that he doesn't want to play baseball anymore.
But that was also the.
I don't think he's a Giancarlo Stanton. I don't think you can relate them.
I'm not relating him to Giancarlo Stanton, even though he's
No,
worse.
I mean that's Stanton's problem. Stanton doesn't like.
That's by
cold
far
weather.
Stanton's problem.
Well, Stanton's been a dog in the playoffs. Even going back to a couple of years ago when he almost like single-handedly tried to carry them against Boston.
I mean, I think the strongest, the most interesting stat on the Yankees this year is the year that both Juan Soto and Aaron Judge had, and I think it really speaks to lineup protection specifically. Mark, you're dead. Yeah, okay, you're back. I thought you were dead again.
No, he's,
I'm not using my Mickey Mouse voice again.
No, but like you think about it, the year he hit 62, and Boone
He had no one
moving
around
all-
him.
And no one around him, and Boone was jumping him all over the lineup to try to make it work.
Leading
He had
off.
he had no fucking protection, and protection is so important because you try to pitch to Juan Soto, and then you remember after Juan Soto was Aaron Judge, and then you remember after Aaron Judge is Alex Verdugo, and you're like, and Anthony Rizzo and Giancarlo Stanton, and you're like, wow, my life sucks. It sucks to be a pitcher and pitch against the Yankees this season.
Well,
It's very
I think
bad, and there's no escape.
granted he's been a little cold lately. I think, and maybe just kind of overworked, a little banged up. But I think kind of coinciding with the Jazz Chisholm trade and when the offense really turned around was when they moved Austin Wells to the cleanoff spot, and he's really been an
Austin Wells
unsung
Rookie
hero.
of the Year, by the way.
I tend to agree. If it's not Luis
100%.
Hill, it's Austin Wells.
Hey, New York fans.
Well, I mean, you think about playoff years, like good playoff years, and a whole bunch of little magical things happen. And Trevino going down, Wells getting to start, and then being what he was this season for the New York Yankees, I think is really actually very interesting because he wouldn't have played so much, and he's been really impactful. I think that's exactly right.
I think, he came up as you knew the bat was going to play, but then the defense was kind of a question, and then just the way he's kind of taken on the rotation and not only emerged as a battery master with the entire rotation, but the defense has been good. He might not be.
I think he, and yes, I'm a homer, but I think he deserves Rookie of the Year, honestly.
I agree. I think honestly, I would say that it's Colton Cowser's not even in my top 3. I think Abreu is in my top 3, pushing Cowser out. What was that?
Isn't Gunnar a rookie too?
Oh no, he's been around a couple years.
I like Gunnar Henderson, even though he's a fucking Oriole.
Yeah. Even though he's got like the
and Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. also really fun.
Bobby Witt Jr.
Most just sort of like auto-generated name possible.
Yeah, totally just like got that. You like picked up a guy in the show, you gave him all really like plus 90 stats. You're like, Gunnar Henderson. Fuck yeah. I think we should end on that. That was great.
I think we're boring, Marcus.
That was funny.
Gunnar fucking Henderson.
Listen, I was just letting you guys just go on and on.
This is your topic.
You guys were yanking out all over each other.
So
it's fine.
Fun.
That sounds gross.
They're going to lose tomorrow, by the way. And they're going to lose tomorrow just like they lost after they celebrated getting in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be super hungover tomorrow.
They're going to drink too fucking much. The guy under 21 on the Orioles, when they clinched the playoffs, when they beat us last night, they gave him sparkling water, and they gave him a little baby uniform. They were fucking with him. It was so funny.
Holiday, and they gave him like little
yeah
poorly colored drawings of the Oriole. It was pretty good.
Anyway,
All right.
let's do it, Mark.
Wait.
Let's do it,
Actually, I got
Rockefeller.
one.
Go ahead.
As smooth as Jazz Chisholm is for the Yankees, we're going to give you some of that smooth next topic with this next one.
Chisholm has the weirdest name.
I know it's me. I'm preparing for another next topic. Anyway, we would like to thank another fake sponsor, Turbo Turf Lawn Care. Get your yard game ready with Turbo Turf Lawn Care. Our fast-growing, ultra-green grass will have your neighbors wondering if you're prepping for a championship. Turbo Turf, where every yard is a field of dreams.
Oh, I could use some of that.
So the White Sox are in the midst of making history, but not in the good way. They currently have 120 losses on the season, which ties them for the most by the, 62 Mets. Now, they actually have avoided this fate as we speak, as they currently they most recently swept the Los Angeles Angels, and they will face the Detroit Tigers this weekend. But barring another sweep, will most likely surpass the Mets and get the record. Regardless, this season is certainly nothing to be proud of. Included 3 losing streaks longer than 10 games and one that lasted 21 games. So everyone, should something be done about the Chicago White Sox for most likely losing the most games in MLB history?
I don't know.
What would you do though? I mean,
Fire everyone.
they're gonna fire everyone. They're very, very bad.
This all started kind of 2 years ago.
Like what?
Back in 2022, the White Sox were actually predicted to win the division. They just recently hired Tony La Russa. Yes, that's true. 70-plus-year-old Tony La Russa was going to save them, and they were going to win the World Series. But that was the biggest bust potentially in Chicago White Sox history, because they did not win the World Series that year. And ever since then, they've just been losing more and more games, and now a potentially historically awful season with probably losing 121 games at the very least.
Damn. I mean, the owner's got to step in for some of this too. Like, have they? I don't know if it's a he or she, but like, what have they said about this?
I think Jerry Reinsdorf, I think is his name, the owner.
Okay.
I mean, he's 88.
Okay, so
I'm pretty sure it was him.
Also,
who said
the
that he
owner of
was
the Chicago
pretty
Bulls.
surprised.
Really?
Well, back in the day, I don't know if he still is.
Oh, okay.
He said he was pretty surprised by the team's historically bad run.
Okay, but pretty
Pretty
surprised. I'm
surprised.
like, let's do something about it, or 2 different things.
Pretty surprised though. I mean, I feel like that sort of is kind of comical in the sense that it kind of opens the door to I'm pretty surprised, but
Yeah.
this was sort of on the table for me.
Right? Was this like a business decision or what? Like,
I do feel like Tony La Russa really was sort of the I don't know if you can really
him the manager.
I don't know if you can really put it all on him, but I do think that White Sox team 5 years ago, the core was very good.
Yeah.
You had Moncada, Roberts, Jimenez. You had guys that you thought you could build around, and Cease was an up and coming prospect. He was a Cy Young contender 2 years ago. I mean, this was a team that had the tools to take the next step, and then instead they just sort of collapsed and became the worst team possibly ever.
I mean, do we think some of that is related to Garrett Crochet going crazy, Mike Clevenger getting hurt, a lot of the starting offense getting hurt?
Sorry, you're a Major League Baseball team and you can't win at least a third of your games?
No, they're very bad. They're very, very bad.
In a season where we're not going to have a 100-game winner.
Yeah.
You've lost to everybody.
They have lost to everybody.
Yeah, what's the saying? You win 50 games, you lose 50 games. That's what you do with the rest that matters. And the White Sox didn't even get there.
No, they're not even going to win 50 games. And again, they had a losing streak of 21 games. That means, I don't know specifically what it was, but that's at least 7 series that they got swept. Swept.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's pretty bad.
That's almost a full month of baseball.
Damn.
I mean, not to close the door at all, Mark, but I think that the White Sox are bad at baseball, and that's it.
Well,
You're a major league team, though.
Yeah, but
Even the A's back in the day, or back in the day, last season, like the last few seasons, they're moving to Las Vegas.
Right.
They're still winning more games than the White Sox.
And like this could also be an opportunity for any of us to go on a soapbox about like how teams need to spend more, but the White Sox have a payroll of pushing $130 million this year.
They
Okay,
do.
so they're
They're not the Rays.
right up there. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just seems like that's got to be mismanagement at that point.
I mean,
like,
It's obviously mismanagement.
right. Like
they haven't been good in a long time. I mean, the last World Series berth for the White Sox was 2005. The last time they were even in the playoffs was 2021, but just the divisional series. So they just won a wild card. And then the last time before that was 2008. So, I mean, really, they've been bad for 20 years. I mean, and not even like the
But not
Yankees,
historically bad. Not historically
because
bad. And I
Florida
think there's
is
something missing in there because I swear they won the World Series
I think 05.
after a Red
this is
Sox
the-
year. It
this
was
is
05.
ESPN.
It was 05.
They
that's what John
they
was
won
just
the
saying.
World. They won the World Series. They swept the Astros in 05.
That's still
In
19
the
years ago.
Mark
at this
Burley
point.
days.
Nope. But I mean, it's still
That's-
20 years. 20 years ago, they were good.
But it's not like they had lots of success before that either. So that was really like their like they sort of like a Marlins kind of situation where they like sneak in a World Series year and then kind of fade away into irrelevance again for a while.
Mhm.
But even the
Yeah.
Marlins haven't had a season this bad.
So,
That's true.
I mean, we would say that Chicago probably is a
So
pretty
bad.
big market. Like, Chicago teams should
Obviously.
have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Probably it's probably top 5 market.
But Chicago teams
have money.
also notoriously aren't very good. Suns, obviously, the Chicago Bulls, but the Cubs have been notoriously bad. The White Sox have been notoriously bad. The Bears have been notoriously bad. I mean, there's not a lot of really good sports teams coming out of Chicago.
What do you got
Besides
against
the-
Chicago?
Besides the Bulls. Hate the
I mean,
Bulls. Talking
Blackhawks
about
had
teams
a
that I hate. Fuck
Hey,
the Bulls.
Blackhawks, yeah,
85
Blackhawks are pretty good.
Yeah, they had
They're
a.
not-
They won like 3 out of
Nobody cares
4
ab-
Stanley Cups.
Nobody cares
Yeah.
about hockey, Pete.
I was gonna say the
Eric cares
85
about
Bears,
hockey.
man.
that's true.
The legend of Mike
85
Ditka still
Bears.
No, but I
goes-
mean, 85,
I know
right?
that, right?
Like,
that was
we can't
40,
talk-
40 years ago.
we
You're
are
talking-
old, and anything before 2000 is old.
Yeah.
To be
That's
fair,
old.
anything before probably 2015 is old at this time.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I know that just makes me think about
Oh my god, how many times have I said to be fair in this
Right.
episode?
So if
Jamie.
We need to get a counter going.
I know.
I know.
You guys brought Jamie and then some of her friends over to like see Liam, and we were talking about some story, and it was like back in the 1900s. I was like, oh no. To them,
Those
that
girls
really
were-
is like
those
ancient
girls
times.
were born in 2012,
Oh,
all of them.
we're old.
Sorry.
All right. By the way,
Ahead of
who
time.
has the Giants place kicker in fantasy this week?
Oh,
5 field goals.
Oh yeah, right. 15 points.
Graham Gano's a beast. Brian Aubrey, by the way, a beast. His kicks have been big.
Have they been long field
Oh
goals?
yeah, Devin Singletary, first fucking down, baby.
He is really good at doing that.
Fuck, so good.
There was a play earlier that sums up Devin Singletary where he blasts through the line, but then gets tripped up by smashing his head into his own lineman's ass, and then still almost pushes the lineman out of his way, but then gets tripped up because he's not fast enough.
I'm really glad that they went for that. That is something that the Giants haven't been really doing.
I mean, at this point, why not?
I mean, you have to. You don't score a touchdown in 4 minutes left, you lose.
Yeah, this is
Honestly, if the Cowboys lose tonight, they've got to be in kind of danger territory.
they're in free fall. Yeah,
Anyway,
I've been calling it that they're what's their head coach called?
McCarthy.
McCarthy. Is it?
McCarthy. McCarthy is on the verge of getting fired.
I mean, I never thought he
so
was
is
that good of a
Brian Dable.
coach. I was kind of surprised Dallas hired him in the first
He won't
place.
get fired if he beats the Cowboys.
well, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. But I don't think the Giants are going to win this.
All right.
I want them to.
I got
but don't
one.
think they're gonna
Ready?
win this game.
All right.
Yeah.
It's the next topic. Little girl in the middle at the right. Everything will be all right. All right.
I like that
Nice.
song. Mark, that was one of our karaoke duets back in the day.
Yes.
So we need to get Pete back into this, and we're going to talk about my favorite human for a second. So,
Aaron Rodgers?
4-time NFL
of course.
MVP and all-around great human Aaron Rodgers told fans after Week 1 to relax after losing 32-19 to the high-flying, somewhat injured San Francisco 49ers, who are now a lot more injured. Rodgers famously told the Green Bay fans to relax in 2014 after losing the opener and finishing 12-4 to reach the NFC Championship game. So Rodgers got a chance to point out that after Week 1, his game was only 2 days removed from the anniversary of his Achilles injury last September 11th. And throwing 13 for 21 for 167 yards and only 1 touchdown, he certainly could have done better. But many of the Jets skill players were still very impressed to play with Aaron Rodgers. So now, after 3 weeks, the Jets are 2-1 and seem to be firing on all cylinders. What do we think about the 2024 Jets, Aaron Rodgers, and the rest of their season?
Well, one of those wins where they looked really good was, no offense, Mark, against the Patriots, who are definitely in a rebuilding year.
No, I mean, yeah, that doesn't really count when you beat bad teams, like the Cowboys tonight if they beat the Giants.
No, and
It counts. You have to. You have to beat the bad
you
teams.
do have to take care of business. That's true. And I mean, New England has shown their defense is still pretty competent. They were great in one of their what game was it where they just like shut a team down pretty much?
Oh, against
the
Bengals.
New England-
Yeah,
the
the
Cincinnati
Bengals. Oh,
Bengals.
yeah, right, yeah. So I mean, that shows like they can stop
that
teams.
hurts, man. Lillian would be crying if he was here.
Sorry, Lily.
Yeah.
No, but like, right. So the Patriots can stop people, and Rodgers still picked them apart. Like, he looked good last week. It's hard to deny it. I just don't
You
know
cannot
if it's
deny how good Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall are. And I said this like an hour
Oh
ago.
yeah, they're great.
You can't deny how good they are. You can't deny how good Sauce Gardner is. You just can't.
I mean, they
They have a lot of very good players. I still hate Aaron Rodgers. I don't think that he should be playing football, but I think he's good enough to maybe, Peyton Manning that team.
the problem is he's a ticking
Right?
time bomb for injuries.
It feels a
though.
lot like
He
that.
can still throw down the field, though. Peyton Manning couldn't win that last.
Yeah.
Right,
probably
Peyton's,
true.
Yeah.
Peyton's arm was toast at the end there.
He's got a healthy neck too. That
He's
helps.
got a healthy neck. That really helps. He's got all of his neck,
Yeah.
which was not like Peyton.
All of his
Right,
neck.
yeah. Peyton had like
His,
no
his
feeling
his
left in
Madden
his...
neck rating is at 99.
Yeah. I mean, I Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say. It's not quite a vintage Rodgers.
No,
Against
no.
the Patriots, but I mean, he did. It did give me some of those, kind of warm feelings that kind of gave me some nostalgia from his Packers days. And I wasn't necessarily rooting for or against the Jets, since I've got my mixed feelings on Rodgers, but he did look like the kind of guy that could, like you guys were saying, kind of Peyton Manning the Jets, like with the skill players around him, with that defense, that I think that they could certainly be very relevant throughout the course of the year if he stays healthy.
I think what's really interesting at the way the season is developing, football is a fucking crapshoot, but with the Dolphins being in shambles, but with how good the Bills are, how does the AFC East sort of resolve itself?
I want to see the Bills play the Jets. I want to see what that looks like, because typically the Jets have had Buffalo's number. Like, the Bills do not match up well against the Jets, and if Rodgers really can ball out, then they could still wreck some stuff in the East, I think.
Potentially.
Potentially.
They might split with the Jets. And
Which they have for the last couple of years.
to be
so I
fair,
guess.
Tua is not dead.
He's not dead.
well,
More than likely, he's going to come back at some point this season.
I mean,
Do we think so?
I don't know.
I think so. I think
He
so.
I mean, he wants to. No
whether or not
question.
he should is another story.
Listen,
but
Tua
I think he's
has-
coming back.
Tua
I think he's
Tua
coming
signed his contract with his small children in tow this year. I think at some point he's going to need to really evaluate the rest of his life.
I know. It's.
I don't know. Did you guys see that segment with Manti Te'o where Manti was just like, dude, it's not worth it.
Yeah. It
It's not
sucks
worth it.
because that is like his true love and passion, though. Like, I feel for the guy. I felt
but
so bad
if-
when that happened.
Keep in mind that big contract he signed doesn't go into effect until next season.
Yeah.
But he's also got money that we couldn't even dream of. Like, he's got,
He does, yeah.
he's
Does
got
he?
fuck you money. Like,
Does he? I mean, yeah,
I
he's
mean,
got more money than us, but
Like,
Right.
I think he's got like 50 million career earnings or something.
if you want to make a
rookie
$50 million, if you want to put $50 million on your taxes, or whatever he's going to put, I don't know. I know that it's always loaded in the back and whatnot. I'm sorry. I think Tua should play anymore? I don't know. He needs to change certain things, but I think
slide.
He's going to play. He's gonna play.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen from Tua, he wants to play.
I mean, my fantasy team wants him because I've got Tyreek.
I think
Yeah.
And Waddle.
I think Malik Neighbors just got a concussion, by the way.
Is he all right? Yeah, he hit the ground pretty hard.
He got his face like driven into the ground. I
saw
think
that.
he caught that. He caught that.
He's standing
but he got
up,
concussed.
or he's setting up.
He got concussed, so I think he dropped it.
He's been kind of banged up
But
a
he
few
caught it.
times this game. I've noticed. He
They
had
are
another scare of
fucking-
an injury earlier. He seems
Uh,
tough.
Did you just see CD? I'm behind. I think.
Parsons on the cart too.
You see, CD Lamb just went over and checked on
His shoes off. Yeah,
Neighbors.
shit.
It
there
looks
goes my
like
only-
Parsons
my only
is done. What are we talking about?
I don't know, but I just had, I
I
had
got-
two.
Oh, the Jets.
We're talking
The
about
Jets, right?
concussions, memory loss.
That's
The
both
Jets?
of my like MVP caliber defensive linemen in my dynasty league are in IR now, probably.
I mean, even with Tua potentially coming back, and Josh Allen being all Josh Allen-y, I mean, the Jets are more than likely going to finish second or third in that division.
I'm thinking they're going to finish second, and I think they'll probably get a wild card.
Yeah,
this
because
year.
Miami
They'll
may
probably
fall
finish
too far.
second. No,
Even
they're
if
definitely
Tua
going to get a wild
plays,
card.
Right.
They're definitely going to win a wild card.
I think Miami is honestly they look like shit.
Yeah. Even I
Without
mean,
Tua, they're going to be in rough shape.
the Bills were up
Rough
like
shape.
what 31 to like 10 or something even before Tua went out. Like that game was over.
Tua looked.
Oh,
bad.
that game,
I
yeah,
commented on
that
it.
yeah, they were definitely outcoached and outmatched in that game before he even got hurt.
Yeah, which it's typically when Tua's been healthy, it's not looked like that when the Bills. I mean, the Bills usually match it very well against Miami, but typically Miami's offense at least puts up a good fight. This time it just something didn't look right. But I don't know, is their line like? Did they lose people on their line? Like, what happened there? Because their skill players are ridiculous.
I think it was just it was a bad coach.
They just don't have
bad.
backup quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
Skylar
of
Thompson's
course.
not it.
Skylar Thompson,
And then he got hurt.
Football.
Right, but like, yeah, but I mean, like I was saying, even against the Bills, like 3 quarters in, Tua was before he got hurt. Like they were destroyed.
Yeah, it's not untrue. I think that the Jets are good.
I do think also we need to maybe it's sort of become like a lower talking point, but just Josh Allen. The talking point before the year.
Josh Allen is Superman.
I mean, no,
Yeah,
well, according to all the national media and the players, he's overrated.
Before
So.
the season started.
Before the season started, it was like, who's he going to throw to? And the answer apparently is everyone, and he's going to do it just as
Do it
well as he
great.
did last year.
Yeah.
And run on you, and he's going to be MVP again, probably.
Which,
Well, and that's the difference between the Patrick Mahomeses and the Josh Allens, and then those mid guys like the Kirk Cousinses.
right.
I mean,
So Josh has never
Josh
been.
Allen and Patrick Mahomes don't really need receivers because they're that good.
Right.
They are the guys that accelerate, the Khalil Shakirs and the guys who are just like WR2s and they make them look like WR1s.
Hey, Shakir
Like,
looks really good, by the way.
Yeah.
with Josh Allen, Pete. With
And
He's-
Josh
Kincaid.
Allen.
Kincaid's going to be tight end 1, I think, by the end of the year.
John, he's one catch away from having the most catches in a row of any wide receiver ever in NFL history.
Dude, I understand that he's having a great year.
And he gets
had
mad
an
yards after the
year-
catch.
And he had an okay year last year. And he had an okay year the year before. I mean,
He was a rookie last year.
It's a bit of, well, yes. It's a bit of it is a bit of perspective. That's all I'm saying.
He had the highest catch percentage in the NFL last year.
Okay, straight up
91% targets caught. I think
No,
it was
straight up
something like
question then. Is he that good with Kirk Cousins?
that.
On the Atlanta Falcons, even. On the
Yeah.
Atlanta Falcons, he
Maybe
gets
not.
traded next year.
No,
Is he
no,
that good
maybe
with Kirk
not.
Cousins? I don't think he is.
Yeah, that's true. Right, and maybe Josh is at that point where it's like,
and honestly,
like Tom Brady was for so many years, where it's like, who do they have at receiver? Who cares? We have Tom Brady at quarterback, and he just.
I honestly
won a
don't think
Super Bowl
Rashee
anyway.
Rice is
That is a true
that
fact.
good without Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he's that good.
That's a good point.
They're all WR2s that are getting accelerated by much better quarterbacks than the rest of the league has.
That could be
much better. And anyway, we're way out of time.
Yeah, I could wax poetic about that for a while, because it's like Josh was never the problem.
No, I mean Josh isn't the problem.
We were concerned about everybody around him, which is very valid, and that still spooks me.
Those years where and all that talk about the Bills being not consistent and throwing the ball away, I think is probably more of an OC problem than it was a Josh Allen problem.
Yeah, the Bills didn't have a Josh Allen problem. You exactly stated they had an OC problem. That's fixed.
I think they did, and it's fixed. And honestly, at least 3 weeks in, they're better without Stephon Diggs.
I think they'd still be incredibly even better if Diggs is still there, but you know.
Nah, you can already see it, and all the news media is picking it up, like all the funny guys.
Yeah.
Houston's having a Stephon Diggs problem. Truly.
Already?
I don't think they're having a Stephon Diggs problem yet. I mean, he seems. At least my fantasy team's happy about Diggs so far.
He's done well. Yeah, he's done well in Houston so far.
Well,
I still like Diggs.
Except the fact that they're 2-1 and not 3-0, and they're
that was a weird week.
Top to bottom on paper, the best team in football. I mean.
All right, sorry.
On paper,
that was
at least.
Extendo topic. All right,
Mark. I don't know if you're just being quiet or your mic's broken again.
I'm being.
Quick interjection. How does the podcast feel about bathroom breaks?
We don't like them. It's a live show, but if you have to pee, go pee.
Oh, it's a live show.
Can you hold it for 10 minutes? Because we only have 2 topics left. All right.
All right. But I mean, if you absolutely have to go, like, don't let your bladder explode on our behalf.
we only have 2. We only have 2 topics left.
No, yes. It was just a question out of curiosity.
All right, really quick. Next topic. Go.
Want to just use that one?
Yeah.
All right. So the WNBA playoffs are underway right now, but unfortunately our favorite rookie, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, got eliminated by the Connecticut Sun in the first round of the playoffs. Regardless, this season seems like a fairly successful one for the Lady Ballers, where they had televised games surpassing 1 million viewers 22 times, of which Clark was featured in 19 of them. Now, an interesting post from Whistle Sports, not a sponsor, proclaimed a few months back that the WNBA would surpass the NHL in viewership and overall popularity within the next 10 years. So, everyone, do we agree that the WNBA might surpass the NHL in viewership and overall popularity within the next 10 years?
100%.
As much as I love the
really?
NHL.
100%?
Yeah.
Much as I love the
Stanley
NHL,
Cup Finals,
it's probably going to happen.
I think
last year's Stanley Cup Finals averaged about 8 million viewers.
Really?
But
we think the WNBA Finals will do that?
I think that
in time.
We'll just compare the sports. I think that basketball is a much more palatable sport than hockey is in America. I think that a lot more people understand.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it is easier to follow for sure.
And I think that the thing that the WNBA was missing was superstars, and there's a ton of superstars now.
And I mean, you gave a huge cushion, Mark, like 10 years.
A ton
lot
of like
can happen in
really
that amount of time.
Interesting, charismatic, Brianna Stewart's and Sabrina Ionesco's and Caitlin Clark's and
they've been in the league though. But listen, we talked about Shohei Ohtani being in the World Series. Imagine Caitlin Clark being in the WNBA Finals.
Yeah, but Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart are going to be, and in New
they're
York,
they're not moving the needle as much as Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not Caitlin Clark, but Indiana's not New York. Like, yes, that is true, right? I know a lot of people who are Liberty fans. Just the fact that
that is a true fact
that they play in Brooklyn, like I know that. And by the way,
City, what's New York City still?
Like Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu, like are as good at basketball as Caitlin Clark, right? I think it's going to be hard to beat the Liberty and the Aces, who are again in the finals for a long time. They're very, very good, and they're ahead. They're just ahead of the other teams. What was really interesting is Aja Wilson, who is the MVP, by the way. Aja Wilson and Caitlin Clark. I mean, the Fever are very good.
Rookie of the year.
The Fever are very good, and they're just going to get better.
They got better as the year went on, right?
They did.
So
They did.
when we first started talking, when we first started talking, the Fever were not very good, and I blame coaching, and they got much better. In fact, the second half of the season, they were one of the best teams in the league.
Yep. They went on a total tear. I think they probably got beat literally, and they're a little young. They got beat just probably from experience, honestly. The Suns just got knocked out, probably the oldest team in the playoffs. Friend of the show and my sister Melanie.
I mean, the Mercury.
The Mercury. Friend of the show and my sister Melanie thought that the reffing in the Mercury game was a little suspect, which I kind of tend to agree with. But Dinah Tarsi's out now, but she's probably like Hall of Fame level. And then the rest of that team, very, very good. But it's really been very fun to watch the WNBA over the last 3 seasons. They are on somewhat of a meteoric rise, I think, is not an exaggeration.
So, someone who's not a big basketball fan in the first place. I feel like I need to kind of stand.
You know who Caitlin Clark is, though, right?
Oh yeah,
exactly.
And I do think it's cool to like that the WNBA is kind of moving on like in the mainstream from sort of like the WNBA, who even watches that, to a position now where I think even in like the mainstream it's become respected, which I mean I that's obviously sort of a reductionist way of approaching it, but I think it from a lot of people's perspective, I think that it has kind of gotten into a place where it's not just sort of like a meme sport now.
I think we can singularly, though, and this is the reason I brought it up, we can singularly talk about the rise in success in sport, but also in the WNBA specifically, from household names. And I think household names, for the history of sport, at least organized sport in America, is the thing that makes people really interested in them. Like you love one person or you love 2 people. These are the people that you would connect with. Aaron Judge and Michael Jordan and Steph Curry.
Clark is up there.
I think so.
Sure.
But I think that also all of the people that I named, I think there was a handful of names, and Tarsi being maybe one of them. But there was a handful of names in the WNBA, and now the handful is really expanding very quickly. And I think a lot of that is probably mostly related to money.
Yeah.
Well, and Asia Wilson also just set like the point record for the
most
WNBA,
points.
didn't she?
Yep. Most points. Yep.
Right.
And so I mean you see those sorts of things.
She had a beast year, just a beast year.
So there's one thing I disagree with this, because there are 30 NHL teams. Give or
30,
take.
Yeah.
31 now.
Give or take.
Yeah.
Or no,
And
32,
there's only
actually, right?
16 WNBA. There's half as many WNBA teams that there are NHL teams.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, John.
I think
Giants
in order
lost.
for the WNBA to get up to that level, they need to expand their market share. I would love if there was a WNBA team in the Boston or Providence area. I would love that.
I'm kind of shocked there isn't at this point. Yeah.
I mean, Mark has to go to Mohegan, which is not super far.
No, it's not super far, but I would much rather go to Boston than Mohegan. It's a little,
and the fact that there's no New England or Boston team, and there is a Connecticut team, which makes sure there's no New England or Boston team.
Listen, when you go to a sporting event, I mean, we all kind of know this. It's like a whole thing. Like you just don't go for the event. You go there for the pre-gaming and the post-gaming and all that. It's like, what is there to do in Mohegan aside from gamble?
Right? Yeah.
Not much.
I mean,
not much.
TD Bank Arts has a really nice.
Exactly.
It's a really nice arena.
When I go to a Celtics game, a Bruins game, or a Red Sox game, or a Patriots game, I'm there for pretty much the whole day.
Yeah.
Doing stuff.
Drinking
stuff
things.
drinking?
When we went to that WNBA game, we had dinner, which was was nice.
We had donuts.
Oh, you had donuts?
We saw the game and then we left.
There's 2 Krispy Kremes in Mohegan Sun.
Inside Mohegan Sun?
No.
Damn.
2.
I think that is a good point. But I think that all of that comes with market share.
Absolutely.
And And we can see that the teams that are spending money, specifically the Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty, are the best teams, the best facilities, the best players, win the most games. And once people start realizing that, I joke last year that the New York Liberty were the saviors of New York sports because everything else was real bad. And they were very good.
Yeah, they were the only New York sports team that was winning.
They were the only New York sports team that was winning.
Yeah, hold on a second. Buffalo Bandits.
No, they're not. They're not included in New York.
What? They're in New York. They win like every
Sorry,
season.
sorry, Pete. Buffalo does not count as New York.
Go Liberty.
talking
I
about?
think that they are probably
The only viable NFL New York team.
probably just as probable.
They're more
of
New York
winning.
than the Jets and Giants.
Yeah, those
That is
guys are
true.
in the Meadowlands, New
That-
Jersey.
That is a true fact.
And we're done. Hey, Mark. Do you know what time it is?
You don't hear
Oh,
me?
Mark. Mike.
Yes, I can hear you.
There we go.
Do, 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 do. No, we lost Mark.
Mark!
It's the
Plug it
final
back in.
topic. There we go.
Pete did it.
I had to fill in for
Oh, yeah.
Mark.
That was clutch.
Hell fucking yeah. All right.
I had to
so
yell
while
that
Mark's
at the
getting
top of
his
my
sound
lungs.
back,
but
you
it
guys
worked.
think that I
Thank you,
should
Pete.
make should
I
I
got
make
you,
Mark
Mark.
sad or should we talk about Marvel? What do you guys want? Mark
We-
sad, talk about Marvel. I think we're going to talk about Marvel.
Yeah,
Agatha
that's
all
fine.
along is out
Wait.
just in time.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, Agatha all
Oh, I
along
knew
is
that's
out
what he was
just in
gonna
time
talk
for
about.
spooky season, with a 2-episode premiere dropping last week, and I know we talked about it last week, our last episode, and with 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, is universally getting good reviews all over the internet and social media. Not to give too much away, but we open with Agatha being stuck in a true crime show as a local Westview detective, which was really very wonderful. They had their own credits and everything. Besides whether or not you've seen it and liked it, is Agatha All Along another step on the MCU's attempt to rehash the things people love, i.e. WandaVision, in order to regain some of its former glory? What, if any, are some of the theories you've heard and are excited by? But I know you guys have probably not watched it.
I haven't yet, but when you say
Unfortunately, I
it's,
haven't yet either.
it's rated that well, though, it intrigues me.
Yeah, 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, right?
It's great. It's so great. It's actually shockingly great.
I
And
forgot
what's-
that it was coming on. Like we were talking about it, we were hyped, and then I forgot it was on.
What's really interesting is Patti LuPone, and who doesn't know Patti LuPone? Like
Patti LuPone.
Patti
yeah.
LuPone, a main character, a famous sing, dance, Broadway, all the things. She sings in it. They have a whole like earworm number in the second episode. All the LGBTQ plus population is out in force because it just like really the show itself right now is really calling to them. Not to mention that Aubrey Plaza is probably a sapphic icon. Truly, right? But I think that it's very marketable. It's very fun. It's very fun. Catherine Hahn, we were concerned last episode that she could lead a show. She can lead a show.
She's always been the sidekick or the antagonist, right?
She's so
But she's
just
good.
charismatic.
Funny. She's
and
funny. Yeah.
but like in an 1,000-year-old evil witch kind of funny way.
Maybe she just needed to find the right role then.
Well, and the reason I asked it again was what's really interesting to me is they literally were like, this is the next episode of WandaVision. Wanda's not in it. Well, she's in it a little bit though, right? We don't know what's going on, but like we see in the trailer, so it's no spoilers, that he does find a body that identifies itself as Wanda Maximoff, right? She has black fingers and black toes, like she's using the Darkhold. And there's a kid who looks an awful lot like Billy, who is helping Wanda throughout the beginning of the show. Billy Maximoff Wiccan, which is one of Wanda's real fake children. So all very, very connective and a little bit of a rehash, like Deadpool and Wolverine, like all the things that they're starting to just like, X-Men 97, like let's just do things people will like so that people like us again. It's just God, I'm talking.
I was gonna say those flood, like you said, X-Men though. Like the floodgates are gonna open when they properly and like really well executed bring the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we're just, that is the break glass in case of emergency thing for Kevin Feige. We're just waiting to see it.
I think they're close.
And listen, this is definitely on my list of things to watch. Again, I kind of just forgot that it was on, but I am looking forward to watching these episodes. But I have a question for you, John. So is this the bet, with Deadpool and Wolverine aside, is this the best thing that the MCU has produced since WandaVision?
Yeah, I think
Yeah?
so. As far as the Disney Plus shows, only 3 episodes in, so grain of salt. But as far as the Disney Plus shows, they're very good. Very, very good, actually. We were gonna watch the 3rd episode tonight, but we ran out of time, and Jamie was like, I'd like to watch the whole thing. We're gonna watch it tomorrow. So we watched a little more of Man of Steel. I think that there are a lot of cool things that hang on Agatha all along. Not to mention the fact that they could theoretically write Wanda Maximoff, Elizabeth Olsen back into the universe.
Because no one dies in the MCU.
I mean, she didn't die. You didn't see the body. And actually, rewatch it. This is Multiverse of Madness. Yes, a mountain fell on her. They did mention that this body, by the way, crushed by something large. But
okay, then.
So they didn't mention it. But we don't see the body, and we just see a puff of Wanda magic, right? So who knows what happens? And I think that they left that open on purpose. I think that
absolutely left it on purpose.
I think that Elizabeth Olsen wanted a break, and she has had a break. She did a couple of shows.
You said that before.
Yeah, she's in actually a really cool I think it's a show called My Three Daughters that's coming out soon that looks really, really very interesting.
Are Mary-Kate and Ashley in it too?
No.
That'd be
she
awesome,
has a
brother.
brother.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
They
have a brother too.
That'd be pretty.
He's brother Christopher Olsen. He's TikTok famous. He's actually very famous right now.
Of course.
So knowing nothing about Agatha all along, the only thing I do know is that it is the first instance of female nudity in the MCU.
It's just her butt.
Yeah, but it's groundbreaking.
They showed butt though. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's so and great research, Eric. I appreciate it.
I like that. That's
very good.
Great contribution.
What did you Google to find that, Eric?
She pitched the Agatha being naked in episode 1.
It's Kristen Hahn's butt.
Yeah,
or Catherine Hahn's butt.
Is it her real butt, or is there a butt double?
No, she loves getting naked. She did that one
okay.
She did that one MILF show on Max, I think, where her son goes to college and she rediscovers herself. She loves to get naked. But I got distracted.
So it's fine.
No, she pitched it to Disney and Kevin Feige, and they were all in. And just the fact that she's like teared down and she has no powers, and it's just like kind of a funny moment where she walks out in Westview and she's back from her spell, and she's like, Wanda, what have you done? She talks to like the funny black neighbor, right? It's just kind of funny.
All right.
Yeah, it's like the Chris Hemsworth butt in
yeah, like the Chris Hemsworth butt. That's actually good. That's a good relationship.
So Catherine Hahn's
butt
is like Chris Hemsworth's butt.
Was that the Thor Ragnarok movie where they just like Zeus just flicks his clothes off and he's like, "You flick too hard, damn it!"
Exactly.
Oh, that was in Love and Thunder, right?
Yeah,
Thunder.
That was Thor 4. Yeah.
Same moment, not
same
Ragnarok.
Thing.
Still.
Oh, sorry, Ragnarok was 3. I meant Love and Thunder. Yeah.
Same moment, different movie.
Yep. Yeah, I meant Thor 4 or whatever that one is.
I mean, I'm excited for all the things. I'm excited for the new Captain America in May or March.
Yeah, next year is going to be a big year for Marvel,
great.
right?
We'll see.
The recasting of Thunderbolt Ross with Harrison Ford, the Red Hulk, that's going to be fun. That's actually in February for my birthday.
All right.
Speaking of Hulk, has there been any news about She-Hulk?
I
right.
don't think they're going to do anything. They have postponed endlessly Daredevil with Charlie Cox, which I think will be great. I love the Charlie Cox Daredevil.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite things to work on my old job.
Yeah,
those were super cool
really,
shows.
Really fun, and they got everybody back.
Yeah.
And the girl, what's her name? I gotta look it up. She's actually a huge nerd and a professional DM currently while she's waiting to act again, but she decided to do it. There we go.
You're talking about the actress in She-Hulk?
Karen is the actress, or is the character. I forget her.
I'm talking about
name.
the actress in Daredevil.
Yep.
Oh, in Daredevil.
Karen Page, is that the character name?
Deborah Ann Wall. Deborah Ann Wall, professional DM.
Oh, you guys were
professional DM.
Yeah. She's and she just did a what's his face from the Walking Dead's podcast. That's the guy who is Punisher.
Oh yeah. Well, Shane in The Walking Dead.
John
Barenthal. She just did John
Barenthal.
There was a big social media moment. She did John Barenthal's podcast.
Steph, if you were here, she would have had that name like boom.
Yeah, she talked to him
and she would have made fun of me for snapping my fingers right there.
She got John Barenthal to play D&D for like a second. And he's like a little boy who's played football. He has been in the military. Like it was kind of funny to watch him play D&D.
That would be amusing. I'm sure.
It was really amusing. Everybody was listening. Look it up. John Barenthal's podcast. Also really good.
Very cool.
Not sponsored.
Yeah.
Go for the little guy.
That'd be a pretty sweet sponsor.
By the way,
hey, if a podcast sponsored another podcast.
2 more subscribers as of I think yesterday. I check all the time.
Welcome aboard.
All right. I know Eric has to pee. So that has been our topics. We will be back next week with our friend Steve Mercer. In the meantime, you can catch up on our old episodes on our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/@iftheseballspod. And don't forget to subscribe to us by clicking that little bell.
Yes. Whoa.
We'd like to thank our guests for joining us this week. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, nice meeting you, John. Nice meeting you, Pete. Nice talking to you as always, Mark.
A pleasure.
Absolutely.
You can always you can also follow or like us on our socials at @IfTheseBallsPod on X, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and TikTok. Our website is www.iftheseballscouldtalkpod.com. This is Mark Pesci, and for my partner John Campagna and producer Pete Steffen, that's what we feel they would say if these balls.
Good night.
Good night.